at this, see? Is that enough for you? Da, 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 da. Brought to you in part by St. Croix Rods, best rods on earth. Strike King Lure Company, #1 in fishing lures. Ardent, pure performance, all-American. This week on Extreme Angler TV. Oh, another big one behind him. Look behind him too, look behind him. About a 3-pounder, 4-pounder sitting behind him.
It's a new joker. If you're one of those fishermen that like a lot of action in the water, you gotta have these baits.
We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Extreme Angler. This week, I want to get back to one of my baits that I love to throw. You know what? There's so many perfect plastics by Strike King, frogs by Snag Proof, everything under the rainbow. Really good stuff that fish grab, eat, and don't let go. But this week, on this show, get back to my favorite, the jig. A simple piece of lead with a big hook, trunk trailer on the back. Simplest thing in the world. I think that the caveman actually used jigs to catch fish to feed their families. But it's very simple, but it's the little things that make a difference when you're throwing a jig. And today I'm going to show you what I do to hopefully catch some bigger than average size bass with that little bait. Real simple. Heavy rod, heavy reel, heavy line, hopefully heavy bass. That if you put this in the right spots, which I'll show you today, there's a good chance those bigger fish that want a bigger meal will eat it. I'm talking about pads, trees, docks, high potential areas. The fish see stuff and whoa, they come out, they just eat it. That's all I want to fish. I don't want to go to areas where they got to look at the jig and work it like deep weed beds with worms and things like that. That's a whole different realm, okay? We're talking about the jig, reaction, bite. But I'm going to put it in areas where those fish are holding like an ambush. And when they see this come in, whoa, they just eat it. That's how they get big. Let's get out there. Let's catch some fish. Let's have some fun. Now, something you got to consider when you're throwing a jig, okay? You see that? That hook's got a big gauge to it, big. And it's got to penetrate, and it has no give. That's the thing. Don't look at it and say, man, what are you fishing for, sharks? No, that's the key. When you set, you want that penetration. You don't want it ripping and making a big hole. Go through, get into the spot. But when you're fishing this stuff, you got to remember, 20, 25-pound test, 7.3, big jig rod, the Ardent, flip and pitch, everything has got to be heavy because these fish, you know what, they're hiding in places where they just want you to throw it in there because they know that it's a good chance if they rub around, they're going to break off. So you got to be, you know what, just as stealth-like. Throw the heavy stuff in there, pull them out, take some pictures, and then let them go. But it's all about the hunt with the jig. Waiting for the tick or seeing a flash. Maybe he's in these weeds right here, watch. You could spook him. Guess he found the jig, huh? You ain't Papa. You were just a little boy. You didn't even fight much, eh? You saw that little jig, you had to eat it. See how dark he is? You know he's been hiding. Look at him, all dark, small fish. We'll let you go, okay? Where's your mama? See that? He left his fight for when he got back in the water. When you throw the jig, anyone you want, Premier Elite, Premier Pro, Hack Attack, Swim Jig, fish it with confidence. That's all it is. It sounds simple, it's a little word, confidence. But you stick with it, you're gonna find the big one, because that is too irresistible for him not to eat. And you know I throw a lot of soft plastics all the time. all the time, rodents, game hogs, etc. All depends on the conditions and how the fish are biting. But sometimes they just want a bigger meal. The jig is the answer. Let's keep going. Hopefully one of those hook sets could eat a fish like that. Let's keep going. Now something else you got to consider when you're throwing the jig. I'm throwing it to very visible targets, you know, subsurface stuff too. You know, with the Polaroid glasses, you can see those little isolated things that potentially big fish will hold on. And it can be anything, 2 pads, you know, one little stick, a little bit of grass and stuff. If you can't see the actual bottom or the shaded edges and things like that, there could be a fish there. Remember that, especially when you're fishing with the jig. So you want to put this bait, you know, you don't want to be making big, long pitches and stuff. That's not the way to fish a jig. Unless you're swimming it with a crawl and stuff like that, that's a whole different presentation. I'm talking about putting this bait into the heavy, nasty stuff, because chances are it's way out there, you're not even gonna feel the bite or set the hook with a stretch with your fluoro and stuff. That's not the deal. The deal with the jig is close range, stuff you can see, dissecting, looking at things, sticks, overhanging trees, bushes, things potentially that big fish hide in. Remember, you know, you look at areas where it's got lots of pads and like football fields and stuff like that where you throw frogs and things like that. That's not the greatest choice actually, because you want to cover water quickly with the frog or a shad bait, etc. The jig is for dissecting the high potential, heavy stuff. Our little guy, another jig fish, a filler fish. Look at him. Look at, trying to spit that jig, huh? Look where you got it. He's on one of those high potential spots where you really can't miss. Look at the bushes. Jig again, a penetration. That's what I mean about the thick gauge hook. When it's in, it's in. Look. Wow. Like, I mean, that fish was never coming off. I'd have to break him off. Go on. But I'm just dissecting it, man. Trying to hit all the potential stuff. Now, do I think he was the only one in there? Maybe not. So what I'm going to do is pull a line out, drop it right into the hot spot like this. Watch this. Right there. Oh, geez, eh? He had a brother there. You see that? I put it in and popped it right away. Let's do that again. Were you big? Probably the same size. But see, let me show you something. When you're throwing this bait with a small KVD junior chunks, see, it pulled the other side off there, probably the same size fish. A lot of times those, you know, 1.5, 2 pounders hang out together. But you throw this bait in this nasty stuff, you're gonna catch them. You might not catch 4s and 5s all the time, but you're gonna catch fish. Because you know why? That's the nasty stuff. A lot of guys don't wanna fish. And what are you gonna throw in there? Bait like this. Don't be intimidated by getting caught up on the logs and the rocks and all that kind of stuff like that, the bushes and branches. Who cares? You want to catch fish? So do I. See when I'm fishing this stuff? Stealth-like. Putting the jig out. Not far. 15, 20 feet. It's the things that I see. I want that jig to go into. And when you're fishing stuff like this, it looks like a flat, nothing. But there's stumps, there's grass patches, sometimes lily pads you can see. But the key fishing the jig for me is the subsurface stuff a lot of guys drive over. I want that jig to go right in those little hot spots. When they see that, there's a good chance they're going to eat it. You can say it's 50-50. It's not. It's more than that. Because when they're there, they're in their comfort zone, in a little hole, in a cuddy hole, you know, in a cave of a log or rock or something. It's their spot. You put those baits in those spots, there's a good chance you're going to get bit, and a good chance they're going to be big. Look at this. Look at him. That's what the jig can do when you put it in the right spots. How about you, eh? Hey, fat little baba. Not a giant fish. Look at the penetration of that hook. Look at that. When a hack attacks, you know they coming in the boat. Look at him. Just a decent fish, eh? Beautiful looking fish. I love those ones, man. But you're not the great big giant I'm looking for. So I'm gonna put you back, go to your spots. Look at her. Big teeth, big fins, big tail. I'm liking her. I'm liking her. We'll put her back. You go back to your spot, okay? You ready? You're all not even fought out yet, right? Go on. put the bait in the right spot. See what I say about the jig? Missed a few fish, maybe they didn't want to eat good. When a good one sees it, it's just gonna boom and go with it. Because sometimes they don't want to chase around little small meals and stuff like that. You know what I mean? This isn't about a finesse presentation. It's about looking for bigger than average fish with a bigger bait in the bad spots where the big fish live. Whew. Another thing that's very important when you're fishing high impact line potential breaking spots is checking your line all the time. I got 25-pound fluoro on this. I check my knot, make sure it's all good. And a little trick, take the line, put it on your lips like this. Your lips are a lot more sensitive than your fingertips. It'll find that real fine abrasions or something that's just not right. If it's not right, take the time, retie it. Otherwise, you could be heartbroken for that big fish that busts you off. Hey. Nice one. Oh, you threw it in that jig in the air. Hey, just a nice fish. I threw it up along that crib there by the boathouse, working this weeds, and just coming out. And you gotta wait. You gotta wait. You just shake a little bit, the fish disappears, and sometimes, like that time, don't even feel the bite, just a little bit of weight. It's incredible how they can grab it when you can even see them. You don't even feel the bite. That's how good they can do it. He's just a chunky fish. He's got a nice big belly on him. Look at him. He's gonna go right back. I know. Ready? You gonna go back and go all nuts? He's gonna go back and go all nuts. That's the beauty of fishing a jig. It doesn't have to be just always vertical, horizontal, swimming it. You can do all kinds of things with that nasty little bait to catch my favorite fish, the largemouth. And now it's time for the Cottage Angler, presented by Lucky Strike. More fish fight with Lucky Strike.
Hi, I'm Tim Blackley, Strike King National Pro Style. I'm going to introduce a new bait Strike King will be out with in 2013. It's the new Joker. If you're one of those fishermen that like a lot of action in the water, you got to have these baits. You can see the 3 tentacles that hang off the back. When they're going through the water, they're steady whipping. So if you want a lot of action, whether you're fishing clear water or muddy water, you want one of these baits. So when you visit your local tackle store, ask and see if they got them. If not, tell them to get them. Let me show you my favorite colors. June bug and chartreuse, it's a great color in any water condition, where it's clear, a little bit dingy. The other favorite color, red and chartreuse. Water's a little bit dingy, it's a little bit muddy, you want to go to that color. It's a great bait if you're fishing down south or even up north if you get muddy conditions. Best choice, electric chicken. It's all around good color, whether you're fishing a little bit dingy water or muddy water like Grenada, Mississippi. It's a great color. Pick some up at your local tackle shop. Fishing with a Strike King Joker, it's not a joke. You fish with it, you catch fish like that.
When you're fishing a jig, it is imperative, when you're fishing close range stuff, whether it be a worm, jig, flipping tube, etc., when it's close to your boat, you got to Polaroid glasses. You know, anybody who's watched the show knows that I advocate about always having glasses on, watching your line, you know, from walleye, smallmouth fishing. It's especially true with the jig because you know what? I can't tell you how many times when I'm fishing away a high potential spot, working it, look away for a sec, look down, see the jig, and see this big mama or papa right behind it looking at it. If I wasn't paying attention, pull the jig away, oh, there he goes. It happens to the best of us. But you know what? When you pay attention, you put it into high potential stuff like this, and then work it, keep your focus. The line sometimes jumps, or you lift up. If that line moves anything to the left, to the right, you gotta set hook. Don't wait, lean back, hit them hard. But the thing is, you gotta pay attention. Watch your line, watch the jig, Polaroid glasses, and you'll catch way more and bigger fish with that little bait. Look at that. Dark and dreary. Perfect little spot for big fish to hide, eh? Under shallow branches and trees. But you gotta be man enough to put your jig in the nasty stuff. Don't worry about losing a bait. Just go buy another one. You don't put it in, you ain't gonna find them. You ain't gonna catch them. You got that jig? He ain't a big one. But that's happened when you throw the jig on those kind of high potential spots. It goes down, and it just goes tick, and you get them like that. Not a real big guy, but a fun jig fish, right? Go on. A fun jig fish. Put it in the shady. Look at this. Just shade with wood and weed. Went down about a foot. Boom. You don't miss those bites. But again, it's high impact. Throw it in, wait, boom. Throw it in, shake it, boom. It just, when fish want to eat, they eat the jig, man. Hard. Oh my God, there's some good bushes back here. Look at this. One of these spots has got to have a pig on it, boy. Okay, when you're throwing a big jig like that, you got to have a rod and reel that you can rely on. The St. Croix Legend Tournament Bass, big jig, 7.3, sensitive, light, but a lot of power. And I got the Ardent Denny Brauer F700 flip and pitch. It has no drag. From the factory, it's rigged with about 20-pound of drag, so there's no stretch. When I set, that heavy gauge hook finds its mark. It's just made for power and strength and catching big fish and heavy, nasty stuff. This tree potentially should have a fish. Look at it. Wow. If that tree had a fish, this tree should have a big fish. Here we go, ready? Hey. High impact. You put out the shady stuff, and that's where they are. Again, just a filler, huh? Just a filler. You hit it so fast, I actually got you underneath the jaw. Look at you. Why aren't you a 4, huh? Go on. Look where he was. See that? I pitched here, 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 here. Looked at the back, behind that where the cedar goes in the water. As soon as it landed, you know what I saw? The jig go down about 3 inches and white from the inside of his mouth. Suck it in. Whew. You gotta pay attention. As soon as you throw in something that's high potential, the jig is the #1 bait that I use for that. Why? High hooking percentage. You're still not gonna hook them all, but when you put it in there and a fish sees that and he decides he's gonna eat, you don't worry about that soft plastic turning sideways, it balling up, whatever it is. That big hook is there, the weed guard goes down, 9 times out of 10, that goes where it should go, right into the meat. Gotta get one else and just come out whoo, and eat it like that. There we go. Hey, you surprise him with the jig. Look how dark that fish is. He came out of a little crib dock, but he saw that jig. Where is that jig? Where is that jig, huh? That jig in your mouth? Hey? Boy, oh boy, it's barely in there. Just a small fish. Chunky little fish. I thought he's a big one. But different sizes, 3/8 and halves and stuff are the mainstay. I'll go to like 5/8 and stuff when I'm fishing real deep weed, more vertical, straight up, down, and shaking it. But for the 3/8, trim it all back, 1/2 ounce, they're my mainstays. Let's keep going, find a real good one. Oh, another big one behind him. Look at behind him too. Look behind him. About a 3-pounder, 4-pounder sitting behind him. Look at that. Hey. Look how far down he took that jig too. Hey. You want that jig, huh? Look at you. You love that. He had one right behind him. See how fast it just come out? That's why they get the tension on. He's a nice little fish. Chunky fish, eh? Look at him. He's been eating real good. Wow, nice fish. Put him back. Ready, you? Go on. So you don't waste time. As soon as that line moves, whack, hit him. Lean back. If it's a stick, weed, who cares? But when it's a fish, you gotta make sure that hook finds its mark. Where are you boys? In this trees? Where are you hiding, huh? Look at the weed out here too. Oh my God. Right here, look at this. I don't want to move too much. There's weed right here. See? Ain't not a big fish. But boy, oh boy, look at this stuff right there. See, my focus is on the stuff behind me right here. And I put the jig in. Look who finds it. Look where it is again. I tell you once, I tell you before, I tell you 1,000 times. Strike King Lure Company knows how to make baits, and they make them right to catch fish of that species, quite a bit bigger. Everything from the design of the head of a jig, line tie, skirt, weed guard, and that big bite hook. Gotta love it. But I got a feeling they may be hiding under these docks. Let's see. One at the back. Let's see if he'll come out again. Sometimes you wait. Go back with the jig. Look how good they fight, eh? Look at him. What a scrapper, eh? Come here, you. Yeah, he's not a giant, but this goes to show you. Not bad, eh? Show the old guy. And you wait for him, wait for him. I saw him turn around. In the deep water, it's hard. Sometimes I go back with a backup bait, like a tube or a little stickworm or something. By the time it falls, forget it. I saw the way he came out the second time and looked at it. You know, he went away. Notice he went mad and he pulled a chunk. I circled around, came back, and got him. I can let him go. Go back to your spot, okay? Go on. Watch. Blink, and he's gone. The jig will do it. You just gotta fish with faith. Don't just throw it in and think, oh, you know what, I did a bunch of docks. I watched what you did on the show and stuff, but it's not working today. Maybe I'll go back to something else. If you stick with it and have confidence in it, you're gonna catch with it. Thanks for watching. We're gonna see you and all your friends on Extreme Angler next time. Adios, amigos. And thank goodness, Strike King jigs. And if you want more Extreme Angler, go to our website, extremeanglertv.com, and I'm sure you'll find us on all your popular social networks, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, because I know you're gonna like us.